You will find in your bulletin today a letter you may have read online, our stewardship letter for 2020. On the back, there's some specific and important notations about how to make Mexican will of actual property here in Mexico. And then also there is a pledge card. We'll have prettier pledge cards available in Sundays to come. All of this information is also available on the parish website. I'm not hijacking you by launching stewardship on the Feast of St. Francis. I think there actually is a dovetail. Creatures have been put into our care. The earth and its resources are in our care, and we are to tend the vineyard. There's a story of a chicken and a pig who, after church one Sunday, were talking about how they could do something to really give some impetus to stewardship season. And the chicken said, you know, everybody loves a party. I think what we need is a grand slam egg and ham breakfast with orange juice and lots of coffee. And I'll tell you what, because I am a noble chicken, I will donate the eggs. The pig did not look happy. And so the chicken said, I thought you loved this church. We need to do something, and I think my suggestion is an excellent suggestion, a egg and ham grand slam breakfast. And the pig said, well, that's all right for you, you're giving the eggs. But for me, it would be a total commitment. So the good news for us today is that God does not ask for a total commitment. Certainly God asked for a total commitment of our lives and our beings, but God doesn't ask for all our money. God knows that we have many responsibilities and things placed in our care as we tend our individual vineyards, as well as the shared vineyard of the church. The traditional tithe is said to be 10% of income. I did that for a number of years. I don't anymore, just by way of confession. I think because many of us also give to NGOs, a reasonable goal, high bar is probably 5%. But I like better what C.S. Lewis said about tithing and stewardship. He said, give until it hurts. Give until it hurts. So this being stewardship time, I think that the tithe is less important than the message that we are called to examine our values in light of our commitment to Christ, our commitment to the church, and the vineyard given into our care. St. Paul, in the epistle that we did not read today, encourages us not to give power to the material realm, to focus ourselves on God in trust. So today, we are focusing on things entrusted to our care. This vineyard, little beasties and the creatures that are given into our care, and by extension, this fragile earth, our island home. And I think that the parable of the tenants in the vineyard is applicable to us. Those tenants, the master had gone away. Sometimes God feels at a bit of a distance, depending on our week or how bad the day has been. The tenants begin to act presumptively about that which has been placed into their care. They begin to treat it as their own, to the degree that they murder those that the good Lord sends, that the owner sends their way. They have become proprietary. And I think that happens to many of us as well. We become proprietary about our gifts, our talents, our finances. We act as though our lives are our own. And of course, as Christians, the fundamental message is our lives are not ultimately our own, that we are accountable to God, and that we live lives so as to help, assist, and support others, and to tend the things of the church. So I feel a little every year when stewardship time rolls around like a cosmic IRS agent. And like some of those who are visiting the tenants and got themselves killed, I don't want to push the envelope too far. But I do think that this is an opportunity for us to realize that we are tenants with a fiduciary trust over that which is given into our care. Why do you yield wild grapes? Says Isaiah in a passage we did not read this morning, which is also about the vineyard. And once in a while, I must say, during the course of my priesthood, I say, why aren't parish coffers overflowing if people are attending the church as they should? Why aren't there more legacy gifts? And I will say I am surprised that this parish church, having been around for 55 years, has not received more legacy gifts than it has. We ought to be having few financial difficulties if all of us are trying to do our best to tend the vineyard in this place. There's a story of the Pentecostal minister who was preaching to his enthusiastic congregation, and he said, "Brothers and sisters, it is time for this church to crawl. We have been sitting on our laurels. It is time for the church to crawl." And his enthusiastic congregation said, "Amen, amen. Let the church crawl, Pastor." And the pastor was fed on that energy, and he said, "I believe if we begin to crawl, then pretty soon we can begin to run. We can begin to run." And they said, "Amen, Pastor. Let the church run." And then the pastor said, "Well, once we run, we can begin to fly. It will take some money for us to fly." And the congregation said, "Let the church crawl, Pastor. Let the church crawl." And the reason we're ready to crawl is because of fear. We fear scarcity. We fear that we will not have enough. And so our pets are good reminders. Our pets don't worry. They trust their owners, those who love them implicitly and explicitly. Maybe they can teach us something about growing our trust in a Creator who does indeed love us deeply. And as we begin to respond in that way, we will conduct our lives and our fiduciary trust with a sense of grace and peace, and we will be more relaxed in the way that we navigate our world. I like Soren Kierkegaard. You probably figured that out last week when I closed with a prayer by Soren Kierkegaard. So I was reading a bit of Soren Kierkegaard because I had to find that prayer. He also said, "We fall short of hope, not from sin, but from a lack of passion." We fall short of hope in our lives, not from sin, but because of a lack of passion. So I invite you this feast of St. Francis to be passionate about this vineyard given into our care. Listen to God. God doesn't ask for everything. He just asks for you to be a faithful tenant. The New Testament has more to say about money and its uses than it says about anything else. It's because money can get in our way of a confident and trusting relationship with God. So I ask you to be confident people and to crawl and run and maybe even, Pastor, fly. Amen. Amen.